This broadcast is appropriate for all ages right here on We Are Movie Club. This is Scary Movie Squad. Salutations, I am Kamurai. One day, I will have everything perfect all the time. But until then, this is Scary Movie Squad, and I am conversation ready. At least it's that easy now. It used to be a big pain in the ass. We're here today to talk about AVPR, or Aliens vs. Predator Requiem. This is another one in the plus category for me as far as like Aliens or Predators go. There's a couple duds in the Alien franchise, and it's mostly duds in the Predator franchise for me. I'm not saying that they're bad movies, that no one should watch them. I don't understand why people enjoy them. I'm saying I don't enjoy them. There are opinions to be had aplenty out there, and I've got my right to mine just like you've got a right to yours, and that's what that is. But today, because I'm the one here, we're going to talk about my opinions and such dealing with the movie. We're going to go ahead and do a little walkthrough, a little walkie-poo through, or walkie-through-poo. That's gross. Okay, so of course, the first Predator movie that I actually liked was Aliens vs. Predator. It's the one where it takes place in Antarctica on a Mayan/Egyptian pyramid. Piece that together on your own. But below the crust, the frozen tundra of Antarctica, where there's this whole temple set up to maybe, I don't know if it's to trap humans per se, but for aliens to, or predators to hunt aliens on, or aliens to take over humans so that the predators can hunt them. That sort of thing. During that incursion, skirmish, whatever the fuck it was, game, one of the predators actually ended up getting face-hugged. Because he had taken off his mask to mark himself as a hunter or something. I don't know. Whatever it was, it's a symbol of respect. But while he was doing that, he got face-hugged, and yeah, he managed to go out the rest of the movie. But that, of course, means that it's a queen, because the little drones actually mature pretty damn fast. The queens are the ones that take longer, and that's been consistent throughout all the movies. Because the very first movie, I think she gets infected with a queen, or maybe it's the second one. Whenever Ridley gets infected, it's a queen because it takes forever, and all these other ones start popping out like super fast. And it's like, what's the deal? And that's the deal. So on the ship, it's a very spaceship looking ship. I'm surprised they have room for a sarcophagus or whatever. And it seemed like there was like 10 or 15 predators on that ship before. But in this movie, it looks like it was only like a pair of them left. Or maybe they docked and got rid of everybody else to another ship. I'm not sure. Not positive. But of course, it zooms in on the predator from the first movie, and we really love the last scene of that where he's lying in the... What are you doing? Why are you kicking my phone? He's lying in the thing, and then... Yeah, oh, no, you gotta hold still like you're dead. Like you're dead. And then the thing bursts out of his chest and goes towards the camera. So, you're not a helpful assistant at all. Jesus. So, there is a predomorph, is what I was calling it. But a predator-based xenomorph. Loose on the ship. It grows super big, like a queen, but it's very distinct. It even has predator hair. I don't know why it has dreadlocks. It's a xenomorph. It doesn't care about style per se. How? I'm on the wrong channel. That's alright. It's just YouTube, and I'm not positive it'll go live anyways. So we'll just we'll delete this off gaming division later. I'm not overly concerned. It was more the other things, and as I flip through them, some of them have clicked on. So da 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 da. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. It's so positive right now. I should forget something. So just to show how serious this movie is, within like the first 5 minutes, it's ripped through the Predator ship. Now, of course, they didn't know that's what it is, but they've been studying these things for a while. They've got a bunch of facehuggers in jars, and I think he's dissecting a xenomorph, potentially from the Antarctica site. So they could have pulled the queen out of the ocean, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe it's the shield that the lady had from that movie. Doubtful, but possible. That's what you get, stupid cat. So the ship, of course, crashes because everyone's getting murderfied. And so they set off a distress beacon, and the last living Predator starts to set off his little wrist bomb. Now, I don't think that the Predator Xenomorph knows what that is, but he knows to just kill the thing and, like, let's move on. So he ends up hurting that guy, and he doesn't get to finish setting it off because it should have annihilated everything. It actually would have fixed the problem. That would have been the thing that was the right solution. But, of course, the jars are all cracked, so the facehuggers get out. Maybe it releases the last few, because they all get out eventually. I'm really not sure. Oh, no, I take that back. They don't all get out, but most of them do get out. Because by the time the signal that it sets off makes it back to, like, let's call it Predator homeworld, or some kind of outpost, and what we call, or what's referred to as Wolf gets deployed. And Wolf deploys to Terra and ends up investigating the thing, and it really plays out like he's a detective almost. Like, now granted, he doesn't do like any dialogue, he's not talking to anybody, we don't even get subtitles, but he is investigating. He's like, oh, where's this ship? And he goes to where the GPS for the ship is, and he goes, oh, very interesting. And he gets on the ship, and he takes some fluid sample to see what was in the jars, even though obviously it's facehuggers. So he starts bio-tracking that. Like, it's really cool how they do that, because they have him like do the vision shifting, and then so obviously his vision's set to detect that fluid, and it kind of like sees the path of the fluid going out. And then he's got like this purple goo that he uses to try to like clean the scene, essentially. Like, I don't know if he's trying to really like do like bleach and blood or whatever, but it definitely gets rid of everything around there, and like it just eats it up. I think later he throws it in a pool and ends up evaporating all the water, but I guess it's a safe way to dispose of like the acid and whatnot. Let's see here. Oh yeah, he does end up. Oh, that's right. That's not yet. So that's a little bit later. I'll circle back around to it, but like, again, in the first 5 minutes, though, just to show that, like, this movie doesn't give a fuck, like, the facehuggers get out and they escape, right? And they take down, like, this 10-year-old boy and his dad hunting, and, like, the way they go about it, too, is, like, one of the facehuggers jumps, he actually nails the thing with a round, but it obviously penetrates the facehugger, and then acid gets on dad, and he loses his arm right in front of his kid. Like, and then while he's sitting there screaming, I think he gets face hugged. Like, it respectfully waits until he's done crying about it, and then while the kid is watching his dad's lifeless body be face hugged, the last one jumps on him. To me, that's like funny and poetic and whatnot, but man, is that rough. So it's a great start to the movie. It's a great little punch, but it's the match lighting, because there is a slow burn on this movie that I really enjoy. I really think that it's a good way to go with it. It's not too much, because the other movies, most of the other movies, take way too long to start aliening or predatoring, and then all of a sudden it's a floodgate of either tension or whatever. And I just don't buy into that. So that a floodgate of tension doesn't do much for me, and then a floodgate of action is like, oh, cool, but it's hard to maintain that. If you kind of build up to it, it's a lot better, a lot more palatable way to deal with it. Not necessarily just objectively better, but to me. So that's when Wolf starts coming in after these guys. Let's see. Back on Terra, cop picks up a dude from the bus. Oh yeah, so they're like old friends or whatever. So when the guy gets out of prison, the cop goes and picks him up to try to help him out. Like we hear about his brother, and his brother's working at some pizza place, and then he has to deliver a pizza to some place he doesn't want to go. Which, just deliver the pizza and shut up. I've done it before. You just do the job, get out of there. At this point, I did have to point out to chat and everything, because we did watch this over on Rabbit/Kamurai. No one's concerned about the spaceship crashing nearby at all. I know I've been in small towns. I've lived in small towns. And when fucking, like, someone hits a deer, people talk about it. This giant spaceship falls out of the sky and crashes into a bunch of woods, and nothing. Nobody's going out there poking around at it. No. Wow. And granted, they were out there a little ways, but showing them the back and forth, like while they're looking for them later, they weren't that far. We get a cool shot, like, because who knows what's going to happen at the beginning of this, where the cop's investigating some tunnel, and he's calling out for somebody and whatnot, and you're like, oh, they're in there. They're going to come out and get them, and it's homeless people. So he's trying to arrest the guy and his dog has a human body part, which, of course, is the hunting kit guy. So they finally notice that he's missing, and his wife's starting to do flyers and stuff in town, and they do the whole search thing, and just like it. A lot of people are doing it, but like no one seems to really care. They're like, oh, he's probably not around. Oh well, sorry, Mary. It looks like he skipped out on you. Took the kid. Let's see here. Oh yeah, the delivery guy's subplot. I can barely give this attention. It's like just stupid high school drama. These movies, one of the problems with them, at least for like a marketing aspect, and this is in general with movies, is that like the creators work very hard. Like don't let me ever hear you thought I didn't say this, but the creators work very hard to make these movies, whether or not they turn out any good, and to create a unique story to tell you, and typically it's one that they think you don't know, or that you don't know the answer to, the ending to. And then the marketers go and fucking ruin everything by showing the best bits out of context, therefore destroying the literary structure that these writers have come up with. Something they used to do, especially for alien crazy movies, is that they would write the story as if it was one genre, like teen drama or something, and then they would suddenly introduce this alien aspect, and then you'd be like, oh, the whole movie's changed. But all the advertisement is focused on the last half of the movie because of how they structured that. So this is that same type of homage to that, if it's not directly that. So fuck the kid team drama. They assault him. He loses his keys. They have an excuse to go into the sewers and see molting stuff because the aliens, the xenomorphs, have moved into the sewers and taken over the bodies of homeless people. And it's like a temporary base camp. It strategically, it really makes a lot of sense. It's like they go in a place where there's low population, not a lot of people see. The drones end up, or the facehuggers end up taking the men, and the predator seems really set on like taking out the females. And we know it's a queen of some kind. So it's really interesting to see it like kind of focus on that when you don't really know what's going on. But every time it goes and does its thing, it's a little bit more obvious about what's happening. And I think by the time we get to the restaurant, like it's very obvious. But but it's almost cliche because it's almost like it's the big bad dude or whatever going to sexually assault or abuse like the pretty female lead or whatever. But like, because we're in half in one movie and half in the other, like, we don't give a shit about the characters that are being affected by this monster. But that is a little bit later. I'm going to touch on that again. So let's see. So yeah, so very obviously, like, when they're investigating the bodies in the woods, they've been chest bursted. I think somebody ends up running across Wolf when he gets there too, and he ends up skinning them. I don't know why. That's the natural instinct, but it's predators, so you don't question it. They tend to see everything as potential game until it's not. But there is no honor in a weak kill, so at least they've got that going for them. I want to say they have that in common with Klingons, but it depends what age or era you're looking at, I guess. At the brother's house, they have a real heated moment, and then they go to find the keys. Of course, they go to the sewers. Is there anything special that's going on in the sewers? I like that the dog warned them about the xenomorphs, but I guess he dipped out because they got the people. And it very easily could have like had a facehugger get the dog, and that actually would have been a lot more interesting to do, especially with already having the predomorph there. That would have given us like two unique style aliens for this movie, and maybe it would have shifted some focus here or there, but it would have been really interesting to see kind of like Predomorph and his dog palling around, something like that. Let's see. Wolf finally gets to Terra. Looking to see if there's anything here. Oh yeah, so Wolf showed up surprisingly lackingly prepared. And I don't know if in predator culture it's just like you end up using your equipment and stuff so much when you're hunting, or you don't have like stores that you go to, or maybe Wolf was just poor. But he didn't really show up with much. So he ended up, when he got there, he took the guy's shoulder cannon, he took like a couple bombs, he took two of the shuriken boomerang things that we see come into play later. I think he took more purple vial stuff. I could be wrong, but I was just surprised. I know he had to hurry up and get to Earth, or Terra, but like he could have like stopped at the store or something on the way, you would think, or have a package shipped to him. I don't know. One of the other weird human subplots that are happening, there's the lady soldier that comes home from the war. And so she's super disconnected, call it light to moderate PTSD. She ends up giving her kid night vision goggles, which I don't know if she can actually do, because those look like military issue. But she can definitely play with them while she's home, I guess. I think that was the idea. They're expensive, too. They're like a couple K to get good ones. Yeah, so eventually cops get killed by Predator, or by Wolf. Wife's passed out flyers. I don't know why. It's just this human drama just is so empty, because I know it's coming to no fruition whatsoever. Now I respect that it's there. I'm just sharing my perspective of it, because I'm sure for some people that helps humanize the situation. It keeps you engaged. To a certain point, that it's a real town full of real people, and then there's like some horrible tragedy coming in. But I don't know, just not my thing. Human drama in a sci-fi alien movie. Give me the sci-fi alien stuff. That's why I'm here. But it is cool to see Wolf go into, like, even the blonde picking up the brother. I can't get into that, but it is cool to see Wolf go into the sewers. In the way he does it, because he's very methodical about how he goes down. He sets proximity mines at certain spaces, and I can't even tell if they're proximity mines. They're almost like laser nets, because he throws one, it drills itself into the wall, and it seems to shoot the other one exactly across the way. So it's actually a really cool idea of doing a net of some kind, but I can't tell if... I just can't tell. I can't tell what it's supposed to do. If it's supposed to, like, block it off or shred them or what. And it almost looks like it's more triangular or something, but who knows how this crazy space magic works, you know? So he ends up pouring more of that purple liquid stuff on the sodded up areas. He's like destroying evidence, I guess. I'm not sure why that's his concern here. What does it matter if humans know about xenomorphs? I don't think it really does. I think the point is to stop them from ruining the planet where they could potentially get good game out of, because they do occasionally kidnap humans to do that sort of thing. So eventually he gets to a point where he feels confident or whatever. He makes this loud, obvious noise. And I can only assume it's to provoke the xenomorphs into attacking, because he's in position. But of course they charge, and then he shoots. And he's got a long enough tunnel that he can just kind of blast down the tunnel and take them out. So he shoots a bunch of them, and he gets into hand-to-hand. He even has like 2 of them, and it looks like he's got 2 shoulder cannons at this point. So maybe he had one, he picked a second one up. I'm not sure on the order, but it looks like he's struggling like how to aim at the 2 things that he's got, and blow their heads off, or if he can just crush their necks. I don't know. And then the Predator morph like comes in and gives him the Sparta treatment, kicks him all the way back into a wall. I'm very upset he didn't fire, but just the same, that thing kicked his ass and then ran away. But he ran away through to the surface, and I have no idea how he got to the surface, because he didn't get up there the way the Predator does, and he doesn't get up there like the way anyone else does. So unless like he managed to run down, go out, and then come back around, I just don't have any answers, because the Predator literally goes through the roof of the sewer, through the street, and then sees someone running like around over to a restaurant. So of course he cloaks and pursues, because he's a professional. If you're also unaware, Wolf is a reference to Pulp Fiction. When the 2 guys have trouble with like the car being all bloody and stuff, they call in the Wolf, and the Wolf handles the situation. So it's very similar for this Predator. Let's see. Where are we at? Oh yeah, so because he's going to the restaurant, the xenomorphs kind of like stroll in and take over. There's a kind of a nice moment between the chef and the waitress, and maybe she's in trouble or she's having problems, I don't know. But she hears a noise and she comes back, and like there's I think the Predatormorph's eating the chef is what it is. Or maybe it's the Xenomorph, I can't remember. But a Xenomorph pins her down. That's what it has to be, the Predatormorph. Because the Xenomorph pins her down, and then the Predatormorph chases the Xenomorph off. Which is very interesting behavior. And the only reason it seems to be allowed is because the Predatormorph kind of counts as a queen. But like they don't seem to really like it. It just, I don't want to get bit. So fine. And so the Predatormorph pins the waitress down, and then it cuts to black. It's like, really, what are we doing here? So eventually we find out that like it's actually attacking the women specifically, and I'll get there, I promise. So back at the soldier lady house, kid's playing with the night vision goggles. She sees the Xenomorph outside. There's a really fucking stupid... I don't think it happens right now, but I want to talk about it now. Because eventually she does look outside. She sees the Xenomorph, and she's like, ah, there's monsters! Which is a dumb thing to do if the monster isn't paying attention to you. Don't draw attention to yourself. Run first, then get someone's attention. Because there's a chance they didn't see you. You scream, that's gone. So there's a really stupid moment where the dad does what any parent does, and he goes to the window and goes, look, no monster, and then shines a flashlight on the monster's face, like it's right there, and so it jumps to the window and eats him, while mom and daughter get away, and mom's like, oh, we're not going, he's done, let's get out of here. It's like, I can't explain to you right now why I can't explain to you right now, but we're gone. Oh man. So I don't know. There's some more human stuff in here. They kept all the human bullshit that they normally keep in these movies. They just spread it out in the first half of the movie. But there's like a construction site where they start getting got, and the Predator is pursuing the xenomorphs there because he's got to take care of them, or at least there's glory in their kills or something like that, if you want to think of it that way. So the blonde chick managed to pick up the delivery guy finally, and so they're gonna go to the pool and go skinny dipping. Ooh. And she wants them bad. Of course, the ex-boyfriend shows up and is a psychopath, so he attacks the dude, and like him and his buddies jump in the pool and almost drown him. I don't know why that was fun. Like, he seems to have a lot of like homosexual rage built in, and that's fine. But eventually he'll get older and find people to let that loose on, who are more accepting of it. But it's a little we got to deal with it now, you know. And then, of course, a xenomorph shows up, because why wouldn't it? They are all over the place. It really feels like they split up. They had a meeting, split up to cover the most ground to just be creepy, because the facehuggers are the ones that take over things. The scouts or drones or whatever are just going to kill people and then gather food, which is basically killing people and then dragging their bodies back. Or they're going to drag live bodies back so that the facehuggers can impress them at whatever the lair is. But because this isn't a traditional queen, there doesn't seem to be a lair per se. It holds up at the hospital pretty well later on, but for most of the movie, it doesn't really lair up. Oh yeah, so but it starts chasing them around the school. It gets one of them during like the chase. I think that slows it down long enough that they can try to climb out a window. And of course, there's a very dramatic scene where they're like the guy gets there, and then he very obviously knows he's not going to make it, but he's still trying, at least half-heartedly. And then they go to reach for each other's hands, and then no, help me! And he gets dragged back through the window, and the thing like puts his blood all over the ceiling when it belongs in his body. If we're not being clear, that's where your blood belongs. So anytime it's not in your body, it's either for science, you're in danger, or both. Pretty much. I'm gonna say that's how it is. So let's see where are we at. I lost my place. Okay, so yeah, so this is about the same time that the kid sees the monster. Xenomorph is eating, and the predator gets it from behind. It's really weird to watch them eat too, because they've got the eel mouths, so they have to open the one mouth and then and like it shoots out, right? Yeah, so if it's eating your face, this is kind of what it looks like in a less terrifying manner. So it's doing that to the body or whatever, and who knows how much it takes for it to be full. But I think Predator just kind of sticks it in the back of the head with something and then moves on. It's like, I ain't got time for this. So yeah, and the kids finally make it to. Oh yeah. So yeah, he's eating one of the kids in the school. That's what it is. So he dumps the predator or the xenomorph in the pool and then pours liquid in. It takes out the whole pool. The kids finally make it out to the cops, report what happened at the school. The cops investigate. They see a bunch of blood, and they're like, oh, something's going on here. Because it always takes something overly dramatic for the adults in these movies to understand that they still have to do their jobs, and that sometimes it'll be true. But I get like, kids are assholes. I understand that. Let's see here. Oh yeah, so over at the restaurant while the police are investigating the school, girl goes to find her waitress friend that she was supposed to pick up, finds her dead, and her belly's been bursted. Like, not just her chest, but it looks like her whole lower abdomen is just open, and who knows what happened from there. The same one that we saw the Predator-morph, like, attack. So it's a really disconcerting scene, because you're expecting one thing and then they get you, if they will. So outside, I don't remember what happened, but the Predator's bleeding, so he's taking care of his wounds in a tree. You can hear humans screaming all over in the background, so obviously at this point the monsters are getting everywhere. The whole situation's getting worse. It might be out of Wolf's control at this point. The National Guard finally show up. The cell phone services for the area have been blocked, which is always a bad sign. So if you're ever in a situation, especially if you're outside and everyone loses cell phone signal, but you can still see like real electricity, you want to get on out of there. Just saying. Watching the National Guard engage the xenomorphs is interesting because it's outside, it's in an open area. It's very interesting to see that happen. Because usually we're in some kind of like jigsaw puzzle box trap with the xenomorphs, and the open tactical thing is not what we're used to. But they do a good job of taking out a couple of them, I think. But obviously at this point, like the the town's already overrun. It just doesn't know it yet. So, maybe it's the cop that shows up there with its lights on or whatever, but people start to gather at the gun store. The hospital's picking up a lot of wounded people because xenomorphs aren't very good at their jobs. I don't know what the reasoning that there is, but the point is that a lot of people are getting hurt, so they're going to the hospital, which means that there's a concentrated area for people to be at for the monsters to go get them. And sure enough, like up in the nursery of all places, the Predator's like trolling for snacks. And we were discussing it, and the way that with how big it is, we were deciding it's about 4 bites to a baby for that Predator morph thing. It's just insanity. Like how big it is compared to these things, and I don't even know if it touches them, if I'm being honest, because it's more worried about its own babies at this point. And it's really cool to see it kind of like stalk through and like just over a sea of crying babies. They definitely got some good atmospheric stuff done in this movie here, and I had a good time with it. So in the birthing room, we finally get to see what it's doing to people, and it attaches its face to the pregnant woman's face, almost like it's kissing her, but not really, because it's more like the way the xenomorphs do. They shoot out and grab, and it just starts pumping her face full of stuff, and what I can only assume is eggs or babies or both or whatever. Because sure enough, later on in like a couple more scenes, we get to see her belly start moving around on the inside like it's freaking alive, and then like it bursts from the pressure, I'm assuming, and there's like 4 or 5 alien babies in there. So they actually evolved a better, faster way to cultivate drones. It's insanity. Let's see. If I remember right, outside the hospital, more people are gathering at the thing. Okay, yeah. So the sheriff or the cop or whatever he is manages to like actually get a hold of a colonel of some kind for the National Guard. And so we see some shady shit happening here because for whatever reason the colonel tells him to get to center of town, and there are so few reasons for that to happen. It's very rare the center of anything is going to be the safest place unless you're expecting bombardment from outside and there's enough shielding between the center and all the edges. Because normally you want to get away from a place, but had they done that, they may have dragged the enemy off, the xenomorphs. So he pulled a strategic move, and it's a dick move, but obviously the point was to drag all the xenomorphs to the center of town so that they were in a concentrated place. And then the humans are just collateral damage. And fuck, he doesn't know about the Predator. Let's see. Something about the Predator here. Oh yeah, so eventually, for whatever reason, the Predator ends up breaking off the shoulder cannons because they're like the targeting's malfunctioning, and he makes like this little sawed-off shotgun thing, which I thought was interesting. In the tank thing, it's not really an armored transport. It's actually an amphibious armored transport, but blah, 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 and there's words for it, but I don't remember what they are. Like, the soldier brings up how odd the command is because she happens to know a thing or two being a soldier. I can't say that I would make the same calls in either of their situations. I know that the colonel is tactically right and morally wrong, and the soldier is morally positive, at least. And granted, the helicopter's only going to be able to take so many people, so why not split up and do it? The blind faith the sheriff has in the command of someone he's never met, I don't know. Like, I can't necessarily get behind that anymore. I've seen too much. So where are we at? So the helicopter that they're trying to get to is at the hospital. I'm sorry, I did miss a part. Like, another truck just happens to show up at the same time. Call it plot armor, whatever you want to call it. It's a little bit silly. So like, they get one defector from the truck to the armored transport, and then the sheriff and them jump in the truck. And he's total ass about the whole thing, by the way. But they head off to the hospital, and they're going to get on this helicopter while everyone else goes to the middle of town to die. And it's almost literally how you can put that scene, because it's like just really obvious at that point that that's what's going to happen. So why do I have... Oh, yeah, because I skipped a bunch of stuff. So at the hospital, so they're trying to get to the helicopter, and they're working their way there. And, of course, they get to the nursery area where the xenomorphs kind of set up shop because they're waiting on babies to grow or whatever. Or maybe... Oh, that's probably what the babies were for. So they impregnate the pregnant ladies, and then the babies burst out of the pregnant ladies and go eat the human babies. That makes a lot more sense. Okay. Still kind of disgusting, but it is what it is what it is. So, let's see. Oh, God, I don't know. This whole scene's just fucked up. So they're just charging along like idiots. They can hear the battle happening because the Predator engages the Predomorph, and like the Xenomorphs are all there. And so they try to scoot by, and then Jesse ends up running right into one of those big boomerang shuriken things, and no, there's no surviving that. She's like pinned to the wall. So of course the idiot brother who's in love with her or whatever eventually shoots at the Predator for no reason, to no advantage. He just stares at him the whole time. I guess it's distracting, and I don't know why you can just turn back away or take him out somehow, but he's obviously busy, so the guy shooting at him is just not helping anything. And it was very clearly an accident. Like, he was throwing it at a xenomorph, or through a xenomorph, and then it hits her, so she's dunsies. But the xenomorphs are there just taking advantage of the situation. One of them ends up jumping on his chest and riding him down the elevator shaft, which was like, it was really funny. It was like almost comical. And so idiot brother or whatever like ends up bending over, taking his thing, sauntering over to the elevator shaft, being like, good riddance. And then he takes it through the chest from the Predomorph. Because why wouldn't you, you know? Of course, everybody runs. Like, he's apparently not injured enough to die right away. So maybe it's not the chest. Maybe it's like the left gut or something. That's a little bit slower to kill you. Man. So the citizens have gathered the attention of most of the xenomorphs, which is interesting of itself too, because the queen's roaming around like at the hospital. So the fact that they're pouring in on this town crossroads or whatever is fairly interesting. So the good brother takes the little shotgun thing, the plasma shotgun thing, and tries to buy them time to get to the helicopter, right? Because the dumb brother's basically dead. I think, yeah, he sits at the door with a revolver or something and ends up shooting at a couple of ones that get too close to the helicopter because they wait way too long. Granted, the brother takes too long to get there, but let's see. Oh, and then like there's a cool thing happening with the gun. Like it's not just Deus Ex gun, Deus Ex gun. It seems to be taking longer and larger to charge each time, indicating that the battery's draining. So it's nice that they kept track of that sort of thing throughout the movie to actually like make it be part of something. Let's see. So the Colonel sends the nuke, and it becomes kind of like a background noise of plot in the movie, because we occasionally cut to it and it's got the stealth technology or whatever, and then when it gets close enough, it obviously launches the bomb, but there's no fighting the bomb itself. This isn't the Avengers. Iron Man's not going to ride it into another dimension or anything like that. They're just fighting, and finally the good brother gets there and is like, what's taking so long, let's go. And they manage to just barely ride it out of the city. But of course, this takes out the Predator and the Predomorph, who had a badass fight. I really enjoy that fight. The Predator's got like this whip thing. I don't know why he has it. He ends up killing a Xenomorph, engages the Predomorph, and Wolf finally gets to the point of just boxing the Predator. Like he loses his whip. I think he has his little cutters on his wrist, but he ends up just not even like good boxing, just squares up on him. Oh man. Hashtag America. But it's so goofy and funny that it's almost like worth it to happen. Like the stupid thing, like Deadpool points it out, like where like they roll up their sleeves or whatever. It was the Predator equivalent of that, where he starts dropping just useless equipment or like scabbards and stuff, because he thinks this is the fight of his life. He even takes his mask off, which I thought was interesting, because it just takes one kiss and then he loses, right? What is cool is that it actually comes pretty close to that, and the Predator ends up ripping out the Predomorph's second mouth, the one that's, and then stabs it in the head. It stabs through the chest with its tail, and they both die in each other's arms, as lovers should. But right after that, the nuke drops, so like, what does it really matter what happened there? It's not like it's even being recorded for history or whatnot. It's just, this is what happened. Boom. Entire town wiped off Colorado's map. Which I think is a little funny, because Colorado's just big enough that's like, people are going to notice that. They're not just going to be like, oh, what's this big blank space over here in between these mountains? No, it's just big enough. And then, of course, because of the layers that happen when an explosion happens, the pressure blast ends up pushing the helicopter out of town, causing it to fall, which reminds me drastically of Resident Evil, probably like 2 or 3, where they crash at the end, and like the army shows up and confiscates weapons and kidnaps them and takes them to some deep, dark facility to inject them with the T-virus. And I want to see that movie. I want to see Aliens vs. Predator versus Resident Evil. Or versus Umbrella Corps, whatever it is. I think that would actually be really interesting. Because that's pretty much how this movie ends. It ends on this weak-ass cliffhanger. As much as I actually really like the movie. Don't get me wrong. I think it's fun. I had a good time. I was interested the whole movie. It'd been just long enough, I think, that I hadn't seen it, that it was fun to see it again, kind of with new eyes. But it wasn't old enough that I didn't care about it like the first two Predators. It's just like, what is this old movie that I have no connection to? No, it was a good time. I would probably watch AVP and AVPR again, which is still confusing that it's AVPR and not AVP2, especially since the video games go APV, APV2, APV3. Made it very hard to look up stuff for this, if I'm being honest. The biggest thing I can say about the end of the movie is bullshit. That crash is going to happen, and then you're going to take my weapons? No, we're going to shoot me first. And the alien tech, not only is that crap, like, priceless, but it's insanity. Like that thing didn't exist anywhere in the world. But that's about all we've got for Scary Movie Squad today. I really don't have anything else to say about it. I've gone now like 45 minutes. It's pretty long. I guess I really like the movie to have said so much about it, but yeah, that's it. We've got other things to get to here. We'll be back. So until you see us next time, I'm Kamurai, and have a nice day from us here at We Are Movie Club. This has been Scary Movie Squad. You want to see anything else we're up to, go ahead and click the annotations and they'll take you to other channels. Thanks for watching.